My Dragon Quest venture continues on, and this time I am tackling Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Blade, and I think this might just be the best Dragon Quest game I have played to date. So with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got you covered with timestamps down below, so if there's a certain section you would like to skip to, feel free to do so, whatever floats your boat. All I ask is you to support the channel and hit that like button, and if you like the content you are seeing right now, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. So Dragon Quest V, let's start off with what version did I play? What did I choose? I played the PlayStation 2 version. I had a few choices. I had the OG on the SNES, I think. I might be wrong. I'm sure you'll quote me in the comments. We also have the DS remake and of course the PS2 version, which was only available in Japanese. But thanks to the interwebs, we have a fan translation. That's what I decided to play. And I, in a nutshell, thoroughly enjoyed that experience. And we'll go into the reasons why that is. Let's start off with the story of Dragon Quest V. Now, out of the stories I have played so far when it comes to Dragon Quest, V has got to be up there, right at the top. But as I was playing this, bearing in mind I've never played Dragon Quest V before, I was getting senses of deja vu. I was going through some of the cutscenes as I was playing the beginning of Dragon Quest V, and I was like, I have been to this place before. And then it clicked. Once upon a time, I watched the most famous Dragon Quest animation out there on Netflix, Dragon Quest Your Story, which I believe loosely follows the events of Dragon Quest V, which makes sense. So that straight off the bat made me familiar with what I was playing, even though I know that movie has mixed reviews out there, but I would like to know your opinions on it. But what I truly love about the story of Dragon Quest V is that it takes place during generations. We start off as a young lad with our papas, which I'll be referring to like the translations that I got in this version. I know that they're different in the DS version and maybe the OG version, but the certain names and places I'll be using will be to this PS2 translation, just in case you want to correct me in the comment section below. But we were with our papa, and we ventured on, and our papa got destroyed in front of our eyes. Time passed, we got older because we were captured, taken prisoner with our friend Henry, and then time passed. We escaped in a barrel, and then we kind of went on this revenge plot of finding our father. And then as time went on, we got ourselves a wife. We had made a decision. And yes, there's an extra decision in the DS version. But then we have children. We have twins. I named my twins Jen, Junior, and Jenny. Because I'm Jen, right? It all makes sense. It all clicks together. And for those that want to know who I chose Bianca, all right? I'm choosing my childhood friend that's been there since the beginning, not some random, beautiful looking girl in a town that I've just arrived to. But that was just me. That was my choice, and I rolled with it. I didn't care about any of the gameplay aspects and the abilities she brought to the table. It just felt right. And that is another reason why I like Dragon Quest V. It's built around family. A family venturing together to beat the evil forces that is out there. And I should have probably give you a spoiler warning here just in case you haven't played Dragon Quest V, but I'm going to talk about the ending right now because this is key when it comes to the story. I really enjoyed how they did the ending. It was kind of like an interactive ending. Instead of there being like cutscenes of like everyone happy that the world's been saved, we had the choice to venture through these locations that we revisited and see how things went. We could talk to the NPCs. It just didn't have to be the main characters that we've met along the way. It could be the old soldier in the background. It could be the bartender. We could talk to a random villager and see how things have got. And I really think this all added to the story of Dragon Quest V. And that's why it is up there for me. So sticking on the basis of the story, let's quickly touch on characters because there's quite a supporting cast. We have papas. We have Sancho, which I really love because we get to meet him in all aspects of our age because we have those time jumps. We're a child, we were captured, we come back as a young adult. We were then turned to stone for 10 years, and again, we see Sancho and we can see his love for the main character here in Dragon Quest V, and I bloody love it. Of course, we have the women we have to choose from. We have Bianca and Fiona. Fiona's father, Ludman's quite the character as well. I really enjoyed some of the story sections with him, as well as an optional boss I think I went against. There's also our best bud, Prince Henry. He escaped with us and then he reclaimed the throne and had a family of his own. It was really, really nice to see. And of course, our own children that start off as little babies and then grow up, and we discover that our son is actually the chosen warrior this time around and not us. I really like the supporting cast in this Dragon Quest game. From story characters, we're going to move on to the world, and I really like the world of Dragon Quest V, and it falls into the same things that we've been talking about when we've been talking about the story and the characters. We get to witness it during different ages. The NPCs' dialogue change. They reflect on the events that have been happening. They also do the classic trope that Dragon Quest does, is they give us clues on where to go next, because Dragon Quest, as we know, and as I've discovered as I've played the games, doesn't really tell you where to go very clearly at stages. So you need to be talking to those NPCs, and with the fact that we have a good world built around us, the NPCs really work out and are worth talking to in this game. Right, now it's time to get into the gameplay of Dragon Quest V, and I want to start off with the exploration. I think this has taken the best of Dragon Quest, what I've experienced so far. So we have the barrels, the pots, the chests, the nuts and the crannies, and everything else in between. There is a nice variation between all the locations we visit, all the towns we visit, all the dungeons we visit. There is a nice pacing to what we visit along the way. It was a pleasure, as just coming from Dragon Quest IV, seeing some little nods because it takes place in the same trilogy. I've seen little things here and there. And then we had the Zenithian Castle, the castle that we visited at the end of Dragon Quest IV. And I was like, oh, I am in to this trilogy. I am in to this game. And then, of course, as the story progresses, we get various ways of traversing this world. We start off with a ship which has limited access, and then we are opened up to the seas to visit other places across the world. We then get a magic carpet, and I was like, is this our flying object of this game? But no. The Zenithian Castle came along, and I could fly around in that bad boy. And that really caught me off guard, and I was like, wow, the airship of this game is a freaking castle. But no. It got even better than that. We got to fly around on the dragon, going anywhere we please on the world map. As the Dragon Quest games have evolved, so has its exploration in the terms of the little extra things that we can find along the way. Mini medals return, though they were called small medals in this translation of the game, but it was a treat to find them in all of these weird places, going against mimics and going against jars and them dropping them as well, and finding them across the world just on our travels and trading them in for good items. I was also introduced to the game of Sogoruku, and I probably pronounced that wrong, but it is the board game that we go around in various towns to get little items along the way, get a bit more extra money, go into a few battles, sometimes going against some metal slimes as well, which is really nice, though I can't actually remember if I got experience from it, but I certainly had the experience of saying I went against a metal slime, a liquid metal slime, and a king metal slime as well. But I really love these games. Getting towards the end of them, it started off very easy. You unlock a couple of chests with some nice items. Of course, to enter these games, you need to find tickets littered across the world, but each game that you go to, as you traverse the worlds and even go to the Dark World, these games get harder, longer, with a little bit of strategy of how you need to use your dice rolls, but better items. It was just a nice break from the adventuring and the story, just to chill out, play some games. And then of course there is the casino. We get to play a couple of slots, we get to lose some coins. I didn't really invest too much time when it comes to the slots because my RNG was horrible and I lost pretty much all my coins that I traded for money. And then last but not least, the one thing that surprised me, I was collecting these items that I thought were key items, and it said collectible, and I was like, collectible? Is this just something that I can just flash and just say, hey, I got this? No, we come across a collectible museum of where we can display these items that we've found. And I was like, oh my god, there's collectibles in the game. This is just up to even more in my exploration. I want to find them all. I didn't find them all, but what I did find out is that some of these items are pretty old and dusty, and we had a magic cloth that we could clean them up and make them look even better. And then in this version of the game, it's a 3D model viewer, which is just a win for me. If I can see things I've collected in a 3D space and be like, yes, I went out my way to get this, it is a winner in my book. From exploration, let's talk about combat. And the combat comes along with the same bells and whistles that we've played in Dragon Quest games prior. We have the spells, we have the skills, we have the items, the accessories we can use in battle for enhancements. I like the fact that I come across a prayer ring a couple of times and it restored MP when I needed it the most. And I didn't realize that this thing breaks, and I was like using it frantically. I was like, I need my MP, I need my MP. And then it was like, it's shattered. And I was like, I'm shattered. I have hardly any MP to get through this dungeon. Guess I gotta go back to the inn. But their items are here for you to mess around with. I think the Sage's Stone is what come in clutch towards the end of the game because it's essentially multi-heal, which really helped out in that final dungeon. But the one thing here in combat that makes things very different to Dragon Quest V to the others is the fact that we can capture monsters. So as you progress in the game, you get the ability for a monster to maybe join your party when you finish battle. And I think that the chances vary for each monster. I heard and have seen that people have caught metal slimes. I wanted a metal slime, so I tried to find an area with metal slimes. I was there for a very long time. I did not get a metal slime in my party, but I certainly got a massive variation of enemies in there. And all of these enemies are pretty unique in what the abilities they bring, if they're high in strength, defense, if they're a good healer, good with magic, and you can really customize and experiment your team, and I think that's really unique. And the fact that you can take up to 8 characters, including yourself, around with you and swap them in and out and trial and error with things, and the fact that they all get EXP, I think the ones that are not in your main party get less EXP, but you get it nonetheless. It's really nice to just shuffle around and see what works out best. But for me, when I certainly got towards the end of the game, and it was all about family, I had to just excuse all the monsters and push them to the side. And I was like, it's got to be me. It's got to be Jen. It's got to be Bianca. And it's got to be our children. Jen Jr. and Jen. Spelled Jen, by the way. And we need to be the team that beats the final dungeon. So that's the team that I went with at the end of the game. But monsters are there to your disposal to experiment with. And I think it just adds a massive layer to the combat. And a lot of critical thinking when it comes to certain battles as well. Now, because I played the PlayStation 2 version, one of the main reasons I wanted to play this version was one, I wanted to switch it up a bit. I played the DS version of Dragon Quest 4, so I thought, should I play the DS version of 5 and just play 4, 5, 6 all on the DS? I was like, no, I want to shake it up a bit. And the main thing that really drew me towards playing this version was the soundtrack. This was not kind of like the synthesizer that you get on the DS. This was orchestrated, it was symphonic. It was really nice, and it added to my experience. I really liked the soundtrack to Dragon Quest V because of the version that I played. If I played the DS version or if I played an older version, would I have liked it as much? Don't really know, but this was the soundtrack that I absolutely loved, and I really suggest if people have not played Dragon Quest V on the PlayStation 2, go play it because the soundtrack is a winner here. And with music out the way, it brings us to the end of the video. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Dragon Quest V. I know, and I'm sticking with it, that this is my favorite Dragon Quest game so far that I've played in full. And it has climbed its way into my top 5 games of all time. And that is a big feat. This game really won me over. I went on forums and kind of seen reviews of this game after I played to see where everyone was at, and it looks like Dragon Quest V is a favorite among a lot of people, and I am now happily here along with that group. So I just want to say Dragon Quest V is an incredible RPG. The fact that it came out so long ago, it's had 2 remakes. I hope it gets another one. I think more people need to experience this game. And again, I'm just going to say, Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Blade, was incredible. What are your thoughts of Dragon Quest V? Let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button. If you want to stick around for more content because we're continuing this Dragon Quest venture, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.